both of them. All right, all right. So yeah, Clint, really glad to see all you guys out tonight. I'm an active Amazon seller full-time. I've been doing this 3-4 years or so. In e-commerce, much longer. My eBay's account is about 19 years old or so. I don't have a course or not here to sell anything. I'm also a volunteer mentor with an organization called SCORE. We have an affiliation with the FBA, or Small Business Administration. So we help a lot of folks in any sort of business. I'm what's called an SME, or subject matter expert, for folks who maybe have a product or they have something they want to get on Amazon and need help to get past some of those common barriers. So I also do that with a fair amount of my time. Otherwise, I do this stuff just because I love to be here and meet guys and men and women that are chasing their dream and making this happen. And it's tough. It's very tough. It's not like the easy button you see on the YouTube video. So the people that make it through, I want to surround myself and be around those people. So that's why I'm here. Help more people to overcome the boundaries that I overcame, and just be more part of the community as we all try to figure this out together. And David.
I guess you got to touch on the black man over there. Yeah. All right. Never double-fisted mics before, so pardon me. Yeah, so my name is David Liggins. I'm from Houston, Texas originally, but been in Seattle for 12 years. I had to keep that plug in there because I can't get rid of my Texan here. I started my corporate job. I've been, various corporate companies here in the Seattle area, and decided to kind of start this on the side while I had a full-time job. And this was, I guess I started this research process in December of 2016. Launched my first product in February, March of 2017, and decided to go full-time here in March of last year. So working up on 2 years total with the business, and it's been definitely an exciting and challenging ride, and we're going to be talking about a little bit more of that later. But here I'm here just to kind of help people share knowledge. Definitely ask us questions. Really wanted to make sure this is valuable for you guys. But really just doing this full time right now. I'm heads down, launched a few products. I'm currently documenting my journey on YouTube. Don't consider myself a guru at all. I'm just like you, just trying to build this business, be successful, kind of pull myself out of that corporate lifestyle. But I'm currently documenting my journey from $0 to $100,000 a month, and really just launched a few products over the last month. So have a lot of in the weeds with the business on a daily basis. So just feel free to ask anything you want here.
All right, so since the pizza hasn't showed up, we'll keep going. So let's go over, I don't know if you necessarily covered it on your intros, but how you guys got started on Amazon. Like, what was the process, how you got started, anything you want to share, products or categories, because we all know that's a touchy subject, but anything you want to share on that, let's go ahead and tell everybody how you guys got started on Amazon.
Sure. I'll show my first product. It was a lawn aerator shoes. Imagine some sandals that have spikes on the bottom. You'd walk around on your lawn and punch holes in your lawn. I didn't know what I didn't know, and there wasn't courses on it, so I figured it out myself, right? I took an online course on how to import because I didn't know. My first order was 1,000 from a factory in China. I rented a U-Haul truck, and I drove down to the port, and I picked it up myself. I loaded it in the back of the U-Haul truck, and I drove it home. And no later than I got it home did I realize that when dealing with your factories in China, you need to supply every bit of information. They came unassembled, and I didn't include any sort of instructions on how to assemble them. So I found another vendor to print up 1,000. I made a set of instructions, printed them up, and proceeded to open 1,000 boxes and put instructions in. And then I saw a competition come out that had more straps. I ordered more straps and opened the boxes. And it was a big learning process. I made a lot of mistakes along the way. So part of this is learn from some of the stuff that I screwed up on the way here. So that's how I started. That was my first product. I no longer sell it or that brand in its entirety. I got here from disenfranchised with my employer and with working for someone else. And I hit if we call it an FTE or a fuck this event, and said, I'm done. I will not. It's mentioned in a couple of books here and there. And that was, I hit a point like, I need to be doing my own thing, right? And that set me down a path of the 4-hour work week, right? It is what it is, way more than a 4-hour work week, but that was a catalyst for many other things that followed. And wow, I can figure this out. If Tim can figure this out, I can figure this out, right? And that's what sent me on the path, which ultimately, after a failed bong business and a failed watch company, I ended up here at Amazon doing this business. So that's how I'm here.
A tip of what not to sell.
That is. It was a deal-a-day site called grababong.com. Maybe it's legal in Washington. I can.
So you guys are partners?
No, just friends, just associates. Yep. 2 different businesses. Yep. And so that's what started me and got me here to start selling on Amazon.
Awesome.
So as a side note, Clint and I met at a mastermind about a year and a half ago now, and just kind of kept in touch. Just like-minded people. I was working in a closet pretty much. It's like, and then vacuum, I should say. And it was just nice to speak to somebody who was actually in this process along with me, and actually, and he was very grateful enough to see that I was really serious, and just bounce ideas off of him and just kind of ask him how his business is doing and build a relationship. So that's kind of how we've connected over the last year and a half. To get back on how I got started with this, like I said, my background is actually aerospace. So I started off with Boeing here, moved to different, corporate jobs, and I realized after a while that it was just really the same thing, just a different face and different name to the corporate job. And although I could do it, I just had to do a little bit of soul searching and realize that, maybe corporate is just not exactly where I want to be, climbing up this corporate ladder per se, although I can do it. And so I decided to kind of figure out, well, you know what, these grad school loans aren't going to pay themselves any quicker. So I was like, maybe I'll just start something, get a little bit of money on the side, got into e-commerce. In college, I had an eBay business. Believe it or not, I was drop shipping before it became super popular. Man, in hindsight. Anyways, and so I decided to just kind of look for different passive forms of income. Now, Amazon is not passive. I just want to point that out. But I got into looking at content and researching and decided that, this is something I can do. I did the eBay thing. I could probably do this too. And so that's kind of how I started my journey. Started consuming information and learning. And that's when things started to really happen. I reached out to suppliers, thought I had this product, and I remember it was January 21st, 9 p.m. I remember this very vividly. Got the product in, super excited, like going to the camera. This is about to be the start, home run, and opened the product, and it was not what I signed up for, not what I purchased. And so, the quality was, I paid a premium cost for the product to sell it at a premium price, end up getting something lower quality. And this goes back to what Clint was saying. You have to be very specific in what you're getting from your supplier and what you want from your supplier with requirements. I wasn't doing that. I was ready to, start this dream of being an entrepreneur and do these things. And it was tough. And so I made a lot of mistakes during that time. So trying to push a product that was premium when it wasn't premium, PPC, can drain your funds very quickly. And I started to realize that, what? I think I have quite a bit more to learn. So I took a step back, kind of reevaluated what it was, and then decided to just keep pushing forward. And now I'm in a completely different place where I am now. But it's still challenging. You still have your ups and downs. It's not perfect, but that's pretty much how I got started. And I could have quit multiple times throughout this business because there's always something that's going to come up that you're going to have to fight through. But I knew that this is something that I enjoyed and wanted to do, even through some of the tougher times, and just kept on pushing for it. So
David, hold on that mic for a second.
Will do.
So a show of hands of how many people either aren't selling on Amazon or less than a year selling on Amazon. Well, that's pretty good. Wow. About half, I would say. So what about some advice to the people who either have been selling less than a year or want to sell on Amazon? Tip, or what things should they watch out for?
Absolutely. The biggest thing that I would say is just two big things, and I wish that I would have truly understood this before. Just have patience. Don't rush. And one of the biggest things that biggest mistakes I made was I tried to make the numbers work when they should be working for me. If the margins aren't there, if your supplier's not communicating the right way, move on. You haven't invested this money yet. You haven't dropped the thousands of dollars for this product. So just be patient and make sure that you're making the right decisions as far as evaluating the information correctly. Have a supplier that's going to work with you. Everything's not your fault. If the supplier is always right, you probably need to move on. That's the one biggest thing. And two is really understand how you can compete in that particular market. If you don't understand the data well, you feel like your understanding is not there, find somebody who does understand that information so they can kind of help you understand what you're looking at these numbers, because the numbers are there. You have the data in front of you with different tools that you may or may not have, but if you have these tools, truly understand what those numbers mean before you just jump into a product, because that will cost you a lot of money in the long run. Or short term.
Sure.
Or both.
I'll throw something out there. Yeah, new and really thinking about this, it's understand this is a very real business. I understand there's a lot of YouTube videos that make it look simple. I would draw a very specific line between simple and easy. That bench pressing 200 pounds might be simple because it's one movement. I would say that it's not easy. Any entrepreneur is going to take a resource from a low value area and move it to a high value area. That's simple. It's buy low, sell high, right? Not easy. So you're mentally, financially preparing yourself for, I'm going to have challenges here. And yeah, there's a tremendous amount of money, more than I've ever made, absolutely, and met fantastic people along the way. Not easy. And so if you're going into it with this mindset of, I'm going to have setbacks, that's okay. But every time I'm going to learn, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, those people are going to be successful in anything they put their mind to, right? They can open a Subway, a 7-Eleven, or start a tax company, because those people have that drive and they know I'm going to make errors and I'm going to learn. So you're prepared for that, right? Because the first time you stub your toe, if you quit, you just wasted a lot of time and money.
So let's ask, what about budgets? Like if somebody's getting started, what kind of budget should they expect? I mean, am I going to drop $10,000 to get started, a couple thousand, 500? How do I get started, and what kind of budget should I expect from that?
Yeah, once you start, David, I can
you both can answer.
Yeah.
Make sure both these mics work here.
It's a big one.
I'm here to give the tough questions because. Just real quick, at the end, we will have a Q&A. So if you guys have questions out there, keep them in your head, and we will definitely get to you and make sure that they answer it.
Absolutely.
So
budgets, that's a good one. I would say that you can start with a wide range of budgets with private label. Okay, there is a minimum. You know, there's the minimum that you must need in order to do things the right way. Maybe a few years ago, you could have got with a couple thousand or 1,000 or whatever, but that's not the way it works in today's landscape. So, for example, if you know what you're doing, you have a process and a methodology, you can actually launch products on I would say a lower budget. And I say lower budget because it's relative to people. So my last product, I've launched 3 products in the last 3 months, or 2 months, I should say. One of them I invested around $6,000, $6,500 landed cost, and that means everything to my supplier, shipped, freight forward, taxes, duties, to Amazon warehouse. But another product I launched was $3,000 landed cost. And then that was direct to door. So the wide range of different products. And with this one, I was trying a different methodology. I was going for something that, for example, if you're going for stuff that just doing 1,500 units or 2,000 units a month, your upfront cost is going to be much more significant if you're going to do this properly in rank. I wanted to try going in for a lot of beginners because they're thinking about getting into this business, which is the real business. Let me try to go for products that are not as high as volume, 250 units, 300 units, 400 units. I did that, found something that a niche, a market that I could get into, but the product is now doing 1,200 units a month. So this is, I wasn't expecting that. So you don't have to go in and try to find this huge product, this golden nugget from the first time. You can get these singles and these doubles and build off of that. So I would say at a minimum though, you probably need around $3,000, $4,000 to really do this the right way.
Yeah. Yeah, at a minimum. I'm going to not try to go in the weeds, but here's some numbers. The organic review rate on the platform, what do you guys think it is? Any guesses? 1, 2, 1, 0? Yeah, depending on where you're at? Yeah, okay, so the organic review rate is almost 0. Let's say it's 1, 2%.
Explain what the organic review.
Okay, sure. So I sell 100 cups. I sell 100 cups, and that means I'll get 1 review. So like I've done nothing to it. I'm not using any follow-up software. I'm not goosing it, and I'm not doing anything funny. I'm just selling 100 cups, and I can plan on getting 1 review. In general, like this, that varies by category, but in general, you might get 1 review per 100 you sell. Okay, so what's your competition? If your competition is 1,000, your competition has 1,000 reviews. How in the world are you going to compete? You're not. That's just you are not going to compete. You can compete if you've got basically a bottomless bank account and you can force your way into the marketplace. And there are sellers that do that, and that is a valid tactic. If that's you, great. I want to meet you and shake your hand. But that's not.
Open up your wallet.
But that's not me, right? So we go into this thinking about that ahead of time. If the organic review rate is 1%, I need to have the money to buy 100 of these up front, and then I get myself one review. So don't pick a product where your competition has 1,000 reviews. I mean, you're dead in the water before you even start. So I like to make data-driven decisions and not emotional as much as possible. So I'll think about this: how much money is it going to take? Well, it's just a matter of crunching the numbers. If the review rate, if we can get this to 3, maybe 4 or 5%, then if the competition has 100 reviews, I have a 5% review rate. I need to sell 2,000 units to become relevant. Somehow I've got to get 2,000 of these cups into my customers' hands, assuming everything holds for me to get the review so that I can actually begin to be relevant in actual customers' minds. And how much does it cost? I don't know. How much does 2,000 of these cups cost, right? So that goes back to what product do you want to sell? A cat brush or a coffee cup, right? How much it is. So that's the formula to figure it out. You got to figure it out on your own, but that will tell you how much is this going to take. And I plan on breaking even on those. That's the way I choose to do business. Maybe not. Maybe you want to make a profit on them. I plan on doomsday scenario. I'm not going to make a nickel until I've put 2,000 of these cups into people's hands. Then I make money, right? Then I make money on the next container and the next container and the next container. Then it just sits there and works for me. But I'm not going into this thinking, oh, I've sold 300, and now I'm disheartened because it doesn't work. That doesn't work, and that's where people will start to quit because they haven't done that foresight.
Yeah. So I think Clint brings up a couple of good points here. So we're going to ask you two things.
Yeah.
How do you get more product reviews? Mm-hmm. I'll give you a hint. And second of all, what products would be good products to sell and which ones are bad products? You can split that one up, but go ahead and start with that.
Sure. Start with how to get more reviews. I mean, it's over-the-top customer service, right? Amazon customers, very, very fickle.
Absolutely true.
They want the world, and you are going to give it to them and say thank you. That's it. There can be nothing less, because that's what those of us that are successful are going to do. We're going to serve our customers absolutely as best as we can. We're never going to argue with them. A customer has an issue. My policy is, the last refund I gave was, here's a refund. I'm sending you 2 free, and here's an extra $6 as a token of my apology for the hassle. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. That's how I choose to do it, right? That's it. If you're not doing that, and a customer's having a bad experience, we can turn that around. We can turn that negative experience to, oh my God, this just blew me out of the water. I was not planning on getting this free and 2 more. And now, of course, guys like me are probably ruining that because the customers get used to it, right? But that's the reality. You have to. I'm talking about negative reviews, yes. But nonetheless, it's going to be that over-the-top customer service. You're definitely sending some follow-up emails. I do choose to use product inserts. I've done so for years now.
That's common practice now, right? Fairly common practice.
Yeah, worded in a way that's appropriate for you and your business and your risk tolerance. I've used them in many circumstances as a more negative review mitigation. Hey, if there's an issue, please reach out to us. We're here to take care of you no matter what. So if there's an issue, let them vent at me. Let them be mad at me. I don't want them to feel like, oh, there's nobody out there. Let me just write a mad negative review. I want them to send that nasty email to me, and I can do something about it. But there's an opportunity to turn it around. But the reality is, most people aren't ever going to engage with you. They're just going to leave a nasty review. So it's follow-up emails, and then just being over the top with your customer service.
Absolutely. So I think what he's trying to say is you can use Feedback Whiz to help automate a lot of that.
You definitely can use Feedback Whiz to automate. I do. Yeah.
So what about products, though? Let's talk about products that you would recommend and ones that maybe you won't. You did touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, what not to sell. Yeah, what not. So right off the bat, Amazon has themselves a list. Here's the restricted products. Familiarize yourself with that. Look at it, and then never sell them. I mean, there's stuff like lockpick sets. You're going to see lockpick sets on Amazon, and the numbers are fantastic. Don't sell lockpick sets, but people do. So like, familiarize yourself with that list and stay away from those. I personally choose. I would never sell anything that goes in or on the human body that comes from China. That's my own personal set of choices there. I do sell nutritional supplements, and those are all made in an FDA certified facility here in the U.S., right? Insurance in place, all that fun stuff. Other than the aerator shoes, I choose to stay away from knives, right? Anything that it's a product liability type issue. So generally, you're going to stick small, just like what everybody buys on Amazon. It fits in a shoebox. The pricing range is between $15 to $20, $30. I've gone as high as $40. Much more than 40. There are people that run great businesses in the higher end of that, or even furniture, large items, because there's less competition there. So if you're willing to go larger or go up market, that can be good, but it's going to take deeper pockets, because we're back to that. Or if you're buying 2,000 units, what is that going to end up costing you? And that can end up being a lot of money up front. So yeah, kind of sticking in that 15. I would say don't go below 15, below 12, 10, you're break even. That's just the reality. That's just the reality of the world. Doesn't matter how cheap you are, even if you're buying for $1, by the time you figure in the FBA fees, you're losing money. Really, that's kind of the reality of the world. So you want to be 15 kind of at a minimum for it to be worth your time.
So that sounds like the don'ts. I just heard a lot of don'ts.
Right.
David, give us some do's. What are we buying?
So here's a couple things regarding. I guess your kind of emails. One of the things that you want to do is make sure that your sequences are emotional. Understand your demographic, understand how to communicate with them, what they resonate with. When you make it emotional, this is how you're going to get more reviews for the things that you're selling. Have that sequence set up that asks them like, hey, thank you for supporting our family-owned business out here in Seattle, Washington, etc. Make it so that have a little bit more of an attachment to you versus this big conglomerate who's trying to just sell them stuff and take their money. If you make it emotional, I've had much greater, almost double the amount of reviews, going from 1.5 to roughly 3% conversion on that, because I've made it a little bit more personal for them. And that's the biggest thing, I guess, for the email sequence. Try to connect with your customers in a way that speaks to that particular audience. Regarding products,
that's double. Like, we're hearing 0 to 1, and you just said 3%.
Yeah, my toy product that I was selling, I was at about a 3.5% conversion on that. So that really helped me out. Wow. I've been selling it I'm not selling it right now, but between the December of 2017 to probably now, I have a combined close to 400 reviews. So it worked out pretty well for me for there.
Give us some categories, David. Come on.
Categories?
Come on. Everybody wants to know, what are we selling?
Electronics, if you want to do electronics. But the biggest thing, as far as categories, though, I do stay out of, like, I'm not selling watches, Kindle stuff, digital electronics. The return rates on those things and defect rates are kind of high. It's not something that I want to do. He talked a lot about what things not to sell. The biggest thing that I would say when you're looking for product ideas and product discovery is focus on things that you can differentiate on. That is the biggest factor. If you can't improve or differentiate or have customer innovation, and look at those reviews and understand what problem you're solving, your product will fail. You have to be solving a problem. You can't go out with a Me Too product. And if you have found a product that you can differentiate a little bit, but it's not enough, then that's something that you don't want to sell. And there's many ways you could differentiate. It's customer innovation on a particular product. Can you outbeat them with Amazon? Like, are you better at them at Amazon? Do you understand Amazon's algorithm? Do you understand how to build a listing? Copy. These are your keywords, your research. How can you go broad or do you go narrow? These are the things that you need to understand when selecting a product, because that will help you defeat and compete. Didn't mean that to rhyme.
No, that's perfect. So just to be fair, what other tools
absolutely
do you use?
So absolutely use Feedback Whiz. I've been using them for quite a while now, I think over a year or close to it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Can we say other products too?
You can say whatever you'd like.
There's a couple of products that I definitely are like a staple for me. Helium 10, I really love their set of tools, and also Jungle Scout Chrome extension. I do use that. I do have Viral Launch and a couple others, but really Helium 10 is a staple. Jungle Scout is a staple. These things help me get product ideas That doesn't mean I'm going to sell the exact product I find through these tools. They help me identify niches and markets where I feel like I can compete. But that's where the evaluation comes in. You have to understand how you can compete, and that's a skill that you hone over time.
That's good. So what's that, about like 4 or 5 tools you're using basically?
That's actually 2.
2?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keepa is absolutely one of them. This is just a must-have. And Keepa, if you don't understand, this is the tool, the plugin that you use on Chrome, and it lets you track the BSR, the bestsellers rank of your competitors or other products over time. So you can understand when you first launch, you're going to be in like the dark hole somewhere, you know, the dark realm. It's going to be 300,000 BSR, whatever category, right? But if you start to see this trickle down to 100,000, 50,000, 10,000, 5,000, and then you can see it's stable, you can understand that this product is kind of evergreen. But if you do something where it spikes in the summer and dies off in the winter, you know you're in a seasonal product. And then you can also look at what your competition is like and how many sales you're going to go. So lower BSR means you're going to have to get out a lot of units, right? So maybe if you're just starting off, you could focus on things that are between the 5 or 10,000 BSR, or you can get between the 5 or 7,000. This means that they're in that particular category or subcategory, they have a certain velocity. So the lower, that means you're going to have to invest a lot more. The higher, that means you have to invest a lot less, but there's not enough demand. So you have to really understand what your budget is and balance that out.
Clint, why don't you jump in there?
Sure. And this question was, what software do we run?
Let's go over tools. What tools do you use? What products you might recommend? You covered a ton of don't do's or you know, things to not look at, but
that's how you lose money.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, nobody wants
so I have to say something. If you're looking for somebody to give you like consulting or advice, right? And you correct me if I'm wrong, but if I'm going to somebody, first thing I'm going to ask them is, where did you fail and what products did you fail with? Because everybody is always going to brag about how they made money, but let's find out how many products somebody lost versus what they made, you know, money on. And I think David pointed out a great point, that they don't all have to be home runs. Everybody's looking for that home run, right? The $1 million item. But a whole bunch of like first base hits will win you a game sometimes, you know, to use baseball analogy, since we're close to the stadium. For sure. But, you know, so maybe some products and tools that you'd recommend.
Yeah, tools that I pay for, I use on a day-to-day basis. Of course, Feedback Whiz, some great features, and I've used a bunch, guys. I'm not just here because these are great guys, nice guys. But I've used. I'm not getting paid for this.
Nice haircut.
I'm here because right. I've used the others, but the amount of customization, that's why I choose. Right when you're selling, you're going to spend money on some things, and so it's not a matter of going with the cheapest. It's a matter of I'm going to use the best, because that is it, right? I have to, and I do use Feedback Whiz. It is what it is. I like Viral Launch's market intelligence. I like that they do show a review rate, which you heard me mention earlier. I think that's a great data point to look at. Accounting, I run Xero. QuickBooks is out there. That's definitely an option. Some people love it. I choose to use Xero. Seller Locker follows up on Amazon is going to lose your inventory. You're going to have returns. You're going to have stuff disappear, and there are services out there that kind of go to recoup some of those costs. I choose to use Seller Locker for that. SentryKit is one that kind of it'll keep an eye on your listings. So Amazon will periodically change the dimensions. They'll say this cup weighed 6 ounces and now it weighs 1.5 pounds, and right, we know that's impossible, but suddenly your fulfillment fees double or triple, and Amazon's not going to tell you that. They're just going to start charging you more, and then one day you're like, why did I lose $10,000 last quarter? And only after you start digging into it do you realize that, Amazon just started charging me triple the amount to ship this cup when they shouldn't have, right? And then you're playing this game where you're going to open a case and you're going to say, hey, Amazon, please, it's called a QB scan. You're going to go back to them and say, fix this, reimburse me. And then you're going to be fighting an uphill battle to try to get your money back. It's a lot easier to, as soon as they change those dimensions, the weights, you go, hey guys, no, fix this now, than trying to fight for your money back. That's a tool I use called SentryKit that does that. SentryKit, yeah, imagine Sentry like a guard, essentially with an S, not with a C, SentryKit. managed by stats for my managerial accounting. So we have zero for financial accounting, balance sheet, profit and loss, and then I'll use a managed by stats for more of the managerial day-to-day SKU level, right? SKU level sales, SKU level profitability, and then manage my pay-per-click. I've outsourced it before. I feel like no one's going to care about your business as much as you are. No one is. That's never going to happen. So it's something that I choose to do myself, and I use Presto's on. Again, played with a few other pieces of software, but they had to do a lot of bid automation for me, so I don't have to get too caught in the weeds. And so I run Presto's on for my Amazon pay-per-click.
Excellent. Yeah. Let's go over launch strategy. Who would like to start first? It's like a game show. Go ahead.
Launch strategy. So I can talk a few hours about this, but I'm not. So I just launched a few products, and I mentioned that earlier. The landscape has changed quite a bit. You know, I've been selling for almost 2 years now, or right at 2 years, and so launching, you know, a couple years before, a couple years now, like now is very different. Reviews are tough to get, and they're becoming increasingly tough to get. And so one of the bigger things is for launching, the biggest thing is make sure that you're solving a problem with your product, right? Because you got to have demand. You have people that want your product. But the biggest thing is that you have to sell to get reviews, right? But you kind of need reviews to sell, else nobody's going to really trust your product. So one of the bigger things that I've done recently is there's a lot of advanced tactics out there, but I kind of go with a multi-pronged approach, right? I want traffic sources from a lot of different places. So one of the big things, if you've heard of it, MannyChat, anybody? Have you heard of this? So Facebook ads, MannyChat, growing an audience on a Facebook group that you can actually market to. PPC is another one. There's different tools.
David, let me stop you real quick.
Absolutely.
So show of hands on MannyChat. Is there somebody who doesn't know? Because this is a really big tool.
Yeah.
So I don't want to just like glance over it. You don't know about it? So why don't you go a little bit into that?
So MannyChat is a bot. Really, it's a company that started this bot, and it's a way for you to engage in your groups and pages automatically. So it's almost like building funnels, like the old school funnels, but in your Facebook Messenger. And this is really crucial because if you're looking at emails, I think if you're like just a marketing star with emails, you're doing about 30% open rate, conversion from those emails. I mean, you're top dog there. But with MannyChat Sequence, the open rates are upwards of 80–85%. And you can, when you have people when you're sending out these communications and 85% of the people are opening them, you're going to engage and reach more customers. You're going to be able to be more personal with these customers or potential customers, these guests that you're trying to bring into your brand, and you'll be able to market to them or provide them, exactly what they want. So this is really huge. And it's not just getting that audience, you can market to them and you can help do some advanced tactics like a search, find, buy. This is really advanced. This is where you get them to purchase full price products from you. This is going to help you rank and launch for specific keywords and things of that nature. So we can talk a little bit more about that in detail later, but this is just one of the tools that you absolutely need to be using, because if you're not using MannyChat to engage your customers, you're going to lose pretty soon, because people are doing it. You have to engage and find ways. You have to get the reviews organically, and be able to reach your customers and build that personal relationship with your brand is the best way to do it. PPC. You can't just throw money at PPC. You have to have a good approach and methodology. You have to optimize and learn how to do this from the start, but there's another way for traffic. So PPC, Facebook ads, other marketing tools there, influencers are another way, but really you want to make sure that you're driving customers from many different places to buy your product, and that's really going to help you rank.
So just to jump in on this, so what he's talking about on the MannyChat, if I'm not mistaken, and because I was looking this up the other day, there's actually a how-to on their website, like how to use it.
Absolutely.
So if you're not familiar with it, please look it up. Go look at it. It's a tool that everybody's using. The top sellers on Amazon are using. So if you're definitely not familiar with it, please go look it up. They'll tell you how to use their software on, or their chat on basically Facebook. So.
MANY.
MANY chat. Yeah.
.com.
Yep.
Sorry, I'm not on the mic.
That's right.
My apologies.
I got that.
Yeah, I would definitely reiterate that. So to talk about, step back just a little bit, product launch. We're talking about selling something that's never been sold before. Retail arbitrage guys, you're buying a ton of Nikes, and those already exist.
Retail arbitrage.
Retail.
I only heard retail arbitrage 3 months ago.
Okay.
But when you hear it, you'll go, oh, okay, I get it.
Retail arbitrage, very legitimate form of business. I mean, there are guys that do tens of millions of dollars doing this. They basically, you're gonna go to the store and buy pallets of eco products, clear cups from Target, and then you turn around and sell them on Amazon. So you are not going through the hassle of creating the product labeling, the packaging, importing from China or wherever you're having them made. You are retail. You're buying at retail and you're selling at retail, really, and you're exploiting the price difference between the two, or the convenience Amazon offers. And so when you do that type of business, doesn't suffer from the same cold start problem, I guess we have.
Wait, why would you do that? Why would you do retail arbitrage?
Generally the process goes from a lot of people will start in thrifting. They'll go to estate sales, things like that, flipping that stuff. I've done it. Absolutely. And next general progression is maybe into retail arbitrage, right? You're going to the friends and family sale at Nike. I'm not gonna lie, I bought $500 of stuff at Costco and made a couple $100 like that. You can absolutely do that right now. I can walk into Costco and do that for sure. That's very alive and very real. It's a matter of it's a shiny object, and I choose to not do that because that will take me away from my focus. But that's retail arbitrage. You're buying at sales and selling on Amazon.
I've heard some benefits of that. So first of all, Walmart, Target, they all have sales sections where they get rid of stuff, right? And they get rid of it cheap. So you want to go in there, look at the product, see what you could either sell on Amazon and at least break even. And part of what I heard, because this was kind of new to me about 3 months ago, is that helps you kind of understand the process, that either the FBA process, how to get, so there's new people here. So this is a good way to kind of start. Go out, find those products. Even though they're a break-even product, you can sell them and kind of get, what is the process? How do I get it into FBA? What do I get charged? What's my fees going to be? And kind of just build your account up and kind of learn the flow of how Amazon works.
That's great. That's great. And for the folks that, if you haven't set up that seller account yet, or you're really new, that's a great way to get started. Maybe don't start with the North Face jackets, right? Or Beats by Dre. You're never going to be able to sell those. That is what it is. There's different restrictions Amazon they're going to put on your account, but that's a good way to kind of cut your teeth, right? Really figure out how the back end of Amazon works. So when we talk about product launches, we're not talking about that stuff. That's already done. We're talking about selling this cup that has never existed before. It's never been sold in the marketplace, and so nobody's heard of it. They don't know they're looking for the North Face jacket. We're creating this from scratch, and we have to get this from never existing to the front page. That's what we're talking about in a product launch. And just to reiterate, chatbots are huge. There's another one called Seller Chatbot. I've also used. It's purpose built for e-commerce sellers. MannyChat's great. You're going to find it's capable of doing anything. It's another chatbot program. Seller Chatbot is specifically aimed for the type of work we are trying to do. So as far as distributing coupon codes, things like that, it's all in one piece of software. But either way, it's a matter of your community. You're having a better connection with your customer than you would otherwise. Here's my launch process. It goes like this. I will use a chatbot to a Facebook audience. If you already have one, great. If not, you're just going to kind of guess what your customer looks like and define your audience that way. You're going to run ads at them, giving them 95% off coupon codes. The less the better, but it is what it is.
Why would you do that?
You need them to buy. You need sales velocity, right? Everything we're talking about here is hypothetical and anecdotal, but I'm going to say that the first 60, 90 days after a listing has been created is often viewed as like a honeymoon period, if you will, and you need to move then. Don't move 6 months later. You shot yourself in the foot. So when you've created that first listing, you're going to set its first sale date maybe a year out. You're just never let it go live. That's my own choice. Never let the listing go live until you are 100% ready. Everything's dialed in. And then the day you switch the listing to go live, hit your marketing right at that point. And so that's when the Facebook ads turn on, the chatbots get turned on, Amazon pay-per-click, all at the same time. And what we're doing is we're trying to tell the algorithm, hey, this cup just came on the market and wow, a ton of people are buying it. This is the greatest thing since sliced bread. We're trying to spike that algorithm and say, hey, this is, people are buying this. this needs to be pushed to the front page, right? I go back to I mentioned the algorithm, MAM, or make Amazon the most money, right? Everything we do, think about that. What is going to make Amazon the most money? And if you're convincing the algorithm that people love this cup, they're going to generally raise you up the rankings, right? You've got a great conversion rate. People are, it's selling like hotcakes. You're more likely to rise in the rankings there. So I mean, that's at its core. It's I'm gonna use a chatbot. I'm gonna turn on pay-per-click. I'm a big fan of Rebate Key. As mentioned, yes, I do have an interest in Rebate Key. I could either be pitching it, or the other side is there are a group of us that figured, we really wish this software existed. Let's put some money together and build it because we want it and it doesn't exist. And so that's how it came into existence, and I actively use it. The customers will come, they'll buy something and they get a rebate 30 days later. They get a check in the mail 35 days later. Checks actually cut like 30. They get in the mail 35 days later. So what that's doing is giving you full price sales and really immediately demand for your product. So you can get something listed and people, because it's free, right? Or pretty darn close to free, and you're gonna end up giving them a rebate for their purchase. The other advantage of that is those do end up counting as verified reviews should they end up coming in. Using just a coupon code alone, those are gonna show up as unverified. It is what it is. Yeah.
So does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so I have a question.
Yeah.
So why Facebook? Like, why should I get on Facebook? What's the goal of getting on there to drive people to my listing? I mean, why not just put all my money in pay-per-click and try to get the keywords good and just hammer on Amazon as much as I can? What's the benefit of Facebook? Either of you.
Everybody's on Facebook.
Okay.
Everybody's
that is true.
Everybody's on Facebook, and I go back to what makes Amazon the most money, and I tend to believe that Amazon really likes outside traffic.
I agree with that.
Amazon's a big fan of us bringing people to the party because these are customers that maybe they wouldn't otherwise have. So basically, we are doing Amazon's marketing for them, and they don't have to pay for these customers. We are paying for them because we are running the ads on Facebook. We are bringing these people into the Amazon ecosystem that maybe otherwise wouldn't make that purchase. So I tend to believe that there's maybe a little bit of favoritism that happens when we are grabbing these people and bringing them into the Amazon picture. Other than that, it's the best advertising platform I've seen. I mean, we're not going to run billboards. We're able to specifically target. If you've never ran Facebook ads, it can be kind of scary and intimidating the first time. It's the back end of that. If you haven't, I suggest take a look at it. Set up an ads manager account, and the first time you do, you'll likely go, "Wow, it becomes very obvious we are the product." We are the absolute product that Facebook is selling, and this is the interface of how we get sold. Really, that's the truth of who do you want to show this ad to, who do you want to see, what time of day do you want to show it to them, what does their household look like. It's really crazy the amount of demographics, the way you're able to target somebody. So when I'm selling this cup, I'm able to get very, very specific into what their occupation is, the zip code they live in, right? What their income is. I can target exactly the type of person that I believe is going to be most interested in my cup. My advertising is much lower, and I've got a great conversion rate because I'm showing a very cheap product to a customer who's very likely to purchase it, and then I'm bringing them to Amazon, who Amazon loves it because this is it wasn't a customer of theirs before.
A different source, basically. It's not just person on Amazon searching. They're coming from a different source, looking at your product, buying it. So it's coming from a different area. So that totally makes sense. Right. Absolutely. So David, do you want to add any more to that, or?
One thing I do want to add, reason why we look at multiple sources, depending on how competitive and how much demand is in your particular niche in your market, just say somebody, a certain products can do like an all PPC launch, whatever, right? But most products can't, and that's because if you're selling, hundreds if not thousands of units a month, that's going to be very expensive for you to do. And so you have to really understand, like that's why we drive traffic to so many places, because you want to understand how much money that you're going to spend. So if you're spending money and giving Amazon some money on PPC, great, they're happy. You're bringing new customers who may or may not be Prime into the ecosystem, and you could probably get them to be Prime. They're going to be happy. They're getting full price sales. They're going to be happy, right? And not deal seekers, et cetera. So that's why it's really important to make sure they're coming from different places. And one of the biggest things that, you just understand that you're not, when running PPC, just because I made this mistake, you're not going to be able to match your competitors' sales on PPC alone. If you're in a smaller market where it's only doing 200, maybe 300 units a month, maybe you can. But if you're in a more competitive market that's over that, you're not going to be able to do that. So if you're going to need 600 units a month, you're going to have to, and you're converting maybe 10% on your PPC at $1 a click, you can do the math. That's going to be very expensive for you to get 600 units of sales through PPC. So that's why you really have to focus on outside traffic, getting an audience that's passionate about your product, and driving them to Amazon.
Yeah, why don't you keep the mic? Let me ask you another question. So what about people jumping on your listings, or sometimes this is called hijacking a listing? So if you're selling something on Amazon, you got this great price, somebody comes in, jumps on your listing and undersells you. How do you handle something like that?
You're going to have them. You're going to have hijackers on your listings. There's a couple ways that you can kind of make this a little bit more difficult. I say difficult for people to do, or more hesitant. Brand registry, getting your brand trademarked is a better way to protect yourself. It doesn't mean it's foolproof. People can still get on your listing. But this just helps to give you a little bit of protection to make sure you have your ducks in a row. So one of the things, the process that I built to help me fight hijackers is to make sure that when I'm getting my products from my suppliers, I have them take pictures of the item with the barcode inside the box before they ship it. I have my bill of lading and my packing list, and I also have my GS1 barcodes, and this is another topic, but just making sure I can prove the authenticity of my particular product. Amazon does have transparency, which is kind of an invite only right now, which is a program that they use to have individual codes inside each product that identifies authenticity of yours. And also, you have the standard process of buying the competitors or the hijacker's product, filing an A to Z claim because it's inauthentic, et cetera, and going through that particular battle. But typically, you can scare them off by making sure you're improved to Amazon, by making sure you have all your pictures and all your information proving that this is something that you've purchased, like your invoices, your pictures, et cetera, to kind of help protect yourself.
I'm going to throw something in there. So also make sure if you do have a brand that you've registered, put that in the title. By the way, don't put it at the beginning of the title. The very tail end of the title, put your brand in there. If you can, make sure there's a sticker on your whatever you're selling, or somehow it's stamped your name, or something like that. I've actually dealt with that. So
I'll piggyback. And so there's two things. Some categories, they do make you put your brand up front. They've changed my listing and put it up there, which causes other problems like retail contribution, which is a higher authority of contribution to your listing, which means that you can't make changes after. Long story. And then the second thing is I'm now designing, I have a graphic designer designing my packaging. It helps differentiate, but I also have my FNSKU, which is a type of Amazon barcode, which they're now requiring to be on your product, printed instead of a label. So it's coming with my design, it's printed directly on my box, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for a hijacker to duplicate or replicate my product. There's some advanced hijackers who try to get boxes produced and to hijack your product, but there's some others that are just selling a bogus product, and then you're just going to have to kind of fight that manually.
Do you want to add to that, Clint?
Yeah, I'll run through my process briefly. Get an attorney. Like
a good one.
Yeah.
Or specifically an Amazon one,
for
if you
sure.
can find
You're talking about someone that it's like reaching into your wallet and taking money out. And I am not going to stand for that. That lasts about 30 seconds with me. No, this is hard work to get here. No, you don't get to do that, guys. You get to do the work too if you want to do that. So yeah,
you have to spend money to order their product to find out it's not actually your product.
Right. So it's get an attorney and sick them on it. Aside from that, my process goes like this: I'll purchase the widget that I know is counterfeit. I have it delivered to me. The process goes like this because I have zero tolerance. I might do this multiple times a day. I'm going to buy this cup that is not my actual product.
He likes the cup. Let's buy the towel.
Sure. I'm going to order
the Avalara towel.
I'm going to order a towel
because I'm going to go golfing. I want an Avalara towel.
I wake up in the morning and someone has counterfeited my towel. Fuck. So what I do is I order the towel. And about 5 minutes later, I send the seller an email. Hey, I just ordered the towel. Do me a favor, please send me the tracking number. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. And I wait, and that starts a clock internal to Amazon. I only know this because I did this enough times. I order the towel, and the delivery address for the towel is something along the lines of Avalara trademark and copyright infringement investigation. The delivery address is my house. So the person gets the email, and they're like, that's odd. Okay, I'll look up the order and send them the tracking. And they look up the order, and they see this is being delivered to Avalara trademark and copyright.
Did you catch what he just said? Because that is funny.
Nobody has ever responded.
I'm sorry, what was the name you sent it to again?
Avalara trademark and copyright infringement investigation.
Come on, if you saw on Amazon and had that happen, that is funny.
Somebody responded to mine.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, that is
my business address investigation.
Wait, somebody make a note of that. That is funny.
So I've not had anybody. I've actually not had anybody respond with the tracking number. All I'm doing is asking. All I'm doing is asking for tracking number. If you don't mind giving me one, they don't respond. And depending on how bitter I am, I might do that 2 or 3 times that day, right? And what happens is sellers have 48 hours to respond to an email. If they haven't responded in 48 hours, you can open an A to Z claim. So what I've just done is I do that. They don't respond. I wait 48 hours, and then I'm acting as a buyer. I'm not acting as an agent of my brand, because Amazon doesn't care about us that much. They care about buyers. So we're acting as a buyer. Hey,
shh, they're just down the street.
Well,
Come on.
It's true. It's very it's very true.
They love us. Amazon loves us.
Sorry,
God.
Any Amazonians in the audience?
Anybody?
Great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no one raised their hand.
You really think they're going to raise their hand after that? Come on. All right.
So I'll open a case. Basically, 48 hours elapses. They won't let you open a case until 48 hours goes by. I'll say, hey, I need to open an A to Z claim. I'll do it on the phone. I'll do it through their text, through their chat, right? But I'm doing this only as a customer. And sure enough, what happens is they get an A to Z claim. And because I did that 3 times that day, and I might have did it the next day and the next day, I keep opening A to Z claims against their account, and they don't last. Like it has a 100% shutdown rate. You will be off my listing, and I'm going to try to get you shut down. But again, you're taking, you just walked into my house and are stealing money from me. I'm not gonna let that stand at all. And that's the same time that I've contacted my attorney and saying, hey, take care of this guy. All right, I'm gonna do it all at the same time and end it. Don't let them languish.
Yeah, it's your money. I mean, don't let them have it. So one thing I do have on the list to talk about is product reviews, but I think we did cover a lot of that.
Sure.
So let's talk a little bit about pay-per-click. So if you're not familiar with pay-per-click, why don't you give just a brief, what is pay-per-click, how you use it, any tips about it? Am I blowing all my money doing pay-per-click and it's taking all my profits? Why don't we go start with that?
Oh, sure. Amazon-based pay-per-click sponsored products, necessary evil. Pretty much a necessary evil. I've had products that I didn't have to prop up. That's great when you get there, when you're the top half of page 1. Our Avalara towel, if it's already on page 1, I'm probably not bidding on Avalara orange towel anymore. At some point, you're going to be cannibalizing your own sales. But until you get there, I view it as kind of a necessary evil. Yeah. Amazon has rolled out more and more variations of the product and different ways you can bid for a different placement on the page. It's going to get more and more complex. I mean, like they just had record numbers for their advertising business, right? I'm not sure how much of that is our dollars, but I'm sure it's a chunk.
Yeah, I think we all contributed to that.
I'm sure it's a good chunk, right? But it is somewhat of a necessary evil, particularly when we're on page 6, right? And we're still trying to get everything going. If we're not, nobody looks at page 6. Has anybody bought something on page 2 or 3?
Anybody make it past page 1?
It just doesn't, right?
I barely, occasionally make it past page 1.
It doesn't happen. So you get sales. You have to have eyeballs, right? Yeah. There's so many eyeballs on Amazon. You can sell anything, but you need the eyeballs. And so when you're not there organically, we pay a cover charge to join the party, and that is done in the form of pay-per-click advertising.
I do have some points in there. So I've dealt with PPC over the last 2 years pretty much daily. I've known quite a few of the iterations. I've been through all of them. I've done AMS, which is the old advertising platform that's still going, but they're deprecating it, pulling it to Seller Central. If you're not familiar with this is just a different marketing platform that was separate to your Seller Central platform. Headline search ads, product targeting, all the things that you find on your detail page when they're trying to get your attention away from the product that you're already on. But I deal with this daily, and I would say that spend less money first before you spend a lot of money, because you can spend a lot of money very quickly, and I have. I mean, my first year I spent $20,000, over $20,000 in PPC. It was not the best decision because I did not get return on my investment there. But there was a lot of things I needed to learn. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to mess up and put a broad match for an exact match, et cetera, and you're going to spend a lot of money, but do that and make sure your budget's just low until you learn. That's the biggest thing. So you can start off smaller and then increase your budgets as you learn and engage with your PPC. But if you go out there with these high budgets and just bidding on these words, you don't know what you're doing, don't know the difference between a broad, your root terms, your other keywords, whatever your competitor's on, which ones you're going to compete with, you're going to blow your money very quickly. So I would say if I was going to give you a tip, I go back to Helium 10 again, because this is the tool that I really use on a daily basis. Pro tip here. I look at my top competitors' and I do a reverse ASIN search. So if you don't know what that is, that basically says, hey, these are the keywords that your competitors are ranking on. And it also gives you the placement of that rank. That helps me understand where they're getting their sales from. And if I know that, now I know how competitive that particular keyword is and make sure do I want to compete with that or not, you know? That determines whether or not I want to go with that product or not also. But that will help you identify what keywords you want to target and what keywords your competitors are targeting and how you can beat them. If you understand your keywords, you can beat your competitors. Or you can identify that you can't and you can just get out and do something else.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna jump in real quick. So just to back up a little bit, just to tell you guys how important product reviews are, right? I get to keep going back to it because that's the business I'm in. But I read this article. We didn't write it, didn't have anything to do with us. And it literally talked about somebody who put a product up and got one review, one product review on it. They saw a 2x increase in sales just on one product review versus somebody who had 0 product reviews. That's pretty substantial. I mean, you just doubled your money. So product reviews are important for sure. And pay-per-click, there's a lot of tools we're talking about. I mean, they all work together or they have their own purpose. So definitely, if you're not using any tools, look at some of the different tools out there.